FDA raises efficacy concerns for PTSD treatment, Lundbeck and Otsuka's Rexulti Zoloft combo. The FDA raises concerns over Rexulti's effectiveness in treating PTSD. In a significant development, the FDA has expressed doubts regarding the effectiveness of the combination treatment involving Lundbeck and Otsuka's Rexulti and Viatris Zoloft for post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. This scrutiny comes ahead of a crucial meeting of the FDA's Psychopharmacologic Drugs Advisory Committee, where experts will evaluate whether the positive outcomes from an exploratory Phase 2 trial and one successful Phase 3 study can outweigh the disappointing results from another Phase 3 trial of the same combination. But here's where it gets controversial. The FDA reviewers are particularly concerned about the discordant results from the two Phase 3 trials. Despite conducting extensive exploratory analyses, the agency has been unable to pinpoint the reasons behind the differing outcomes. This lack of clarity complicates the interpretation of the overall efficacy evidence derived from these pivotal trials, as noted in a document prepared for the upcoming meeting. As is standard practice, Otsuka and Lundbeck carried out two rigorously controlled Phase 3 studies to validate the Rexulti-Zoloft combination for PTSD. Both the FDA and the drug manufacturers agreed that this combination needed to consistently demonstrate superior performance compared to Zoloft alone, which is a widely accepted first-line treatment for PTSD, to provide convincing evidence of its efficacy. In one of the studies, which tested Rexulti at doses of 2 mg and 3 mg in separate groups, the FDA described the results as clearly and convincingly negative. The trial failed to achieve statistical significance on both its primary and secondary endpoints, indicating that neither dosage was more effective than Zoloft by itself. Conversely, the other study, which allowed for flexible dosing of Rexulti at either 2 mg or 3 mg within a single group, yielded robustly positive results, according to the briefing document. And this is the part most people miss. Given the conflicting outcomes, Otsuka and Lundbeck have submitted additional Phase 2 results as supplementary evidence. They retrospectively selected 3 comparisons from a mid-stage, multi-arm study, where the Rexulti-Zoloft combination demonstrated statistical superiority over Zoloft alone using the methods employed by the drug makers. However, the FDA cautioned that these results cannot claim statistical significance based on the original study design. In the two positive trials, the Rexulti-Zoloft regimen was linked to a statistically significant reduction in PTSD symptoms compared to Zoloft alone, as measured by changes in the clinician-administered CAPS-5 score from the baseline to week 10. While the other Phase 3 trial did not meet its primary endpoint, the reductions in PTSD symptom severity observed were consistent with the findings from the two successful studies, as Otsuka and Lundbeck highlighted during their presentation of the results last May. To gather insights from the advisory committee, the FDA has postponed its decision on Rexulti from the initial target action date of February 8. Following this delay, it remains uncertain when the agency will finalize its decision regarding the filing. Meanwhile, Rexulti has experienced rapid growth, fueled by rising demand in the U.S. for treating agitation associated with Alzheimer's disease. In the first quarter, Lundbeck reported revenues of 1.5 billion Danish kroner, approximately $233 million, from Rexulti, marking a 28% increase at constant exchange rates. This atypical antipsychotic has been identified alongside the CGRP migraine medication Vyepti as one of Lundbeck's primary growth drivers during this period. What do you think? Are the FDA's concerns justified, or do you believe the positive results from the trials should outweigh the negative findings? Share your thoughts in the comments. Otsuka and Lundbeck's PTSD drug fails FDA panel approval. Imagine a scenario where a promising solution for a debilitating mental health condition faces a significant roadblock just before reaching those who need it most. This is exactly what happened when Otsuka Pharmaceutical Company, in partnership with Lundbeck AS, faced a tough decision from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA) advisory panel regarding their new treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. The drug, which has been in development for years, was aiming to be the first new PTSD medication to hit the market in over 2 decades. However, the panel's decision was a major setback, voting 10-1 against the approval of the drug. The drug in question, known as brexpiprazole and marketed under the brand name Rexulti, was being evaluated for its effectiveness when used in conjunction with sertraline, a commonly prescribed antidepressant. Despite the high hopes and extensive research behind the medication, the panel concluded that the evidence provided did not sufficiently establish the drug's efficacy for treating PTSD. This outcome is particularly disappointing given the urgent need for new treatments in the field of mental health. But here's where it gets controversial. While the FDA is not bound by the recommendations of its advisory panels, such votes often heavily influence final decisions. This means that even though the panel's vote was overwhelmingly against approval, there is still a slim chance that the FDA could decide otherwise. Many advocates for PTSD patients argue that the current treatment options are limited and often ineffective, making the introduction of new drugs crucial. And this is the part most people miss. The process of developing and approving new medications is complex and fraught with challenges. For every successful drug that reaches the market, there are countless others that fail to meet regulatory standards. This case highlights the rigorous scrutiny that new treatments must undergo to ensure patient safety and efficacy. What do you think? Should the FDA consider the broader context of limited treatment options when making their final decision, or should they strictly adhere to the panel's recommendation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. US FDA rejects Otsuka's PTSD combination treatment. What's next? In a shocking turn of events, US FDA advisors have recommended against Otsuka's PTSD combination treatment. The panel voted 10-1, citing concerns over efficacy and mixed trial results. This decision echoes the FDA reviewer's assessment from Wednesday and raises questions about the future of this potential breakthrough treatment. Otsuka's application was based on data from 1 mid-stage and 2 late-stage studies testing the combination of their antipsychotic drug, brexpiprazole, with Viatris antidepressant Zoloft. However, the treatment failed to meet the main goal of significantly reducing PTSD symptom severity in one of the late-stage studies. PTSD affects approximately 4% of U.S. adults and is often associated with war veterans. However, civilians can also develop the condition after experiencing natural disasters, abuse, or other traumatic events. The panel discussed potential side effects like weight gain and movement disorders linked to long-term antipsychotic use but acknowledged that the combination might be a better option for patients who respond poorly to Zoloft alone. The big question remains, given the modest benefits and potential risks, is this combination treatment worth pursuing? The FDA delayed its decision on Otsuka's application to seek the advisory panel's input and has not set a new action date for the drug. If approved, it would be the first PTSD treatment to gain U.S. approval in over 2 decades, following Zoloft and GSK's Paxil. What do you think? Should the FDA prioritize potential benefits over possible risks in this case? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.